Okay, behind me we have the John Deere 1585. I promised a video, and we're going to go through some of the things we can do to help seal up the cab on this thing. We want to get better sound deadening on it. We want to get better climate. We did ceramic tint on the windows, which is the first step, of course. That helps significantly. In Texas it's really hot here, so in the cabs, we're looking at 100 to 105 degrees outside a lot of times. So we want to try to, I've tinted my tractor, my Kubota tractor. It works really good as long as you use ceramic tint. So there's some things we can do for the sound, for the thermal, and some of the sealing. And I'm going to go through those processes with you. I'm going to flip this camera around, show you the first step that we're going to start working on today. Okay, so one of the first things you're going to see when you come in here is this back lining right here. John Deere pretty much took a really nice cab, and I would say this is about a tractor quality cab, and they set it on top of a mower. They did a great job. The cab, the doors seal excellent. I mean, they are great, just like any tractor. The seams are good. Everything from the bottom up does a really good job. The only thing that I'm going to complain about is how it's sealed to the tractor itself, when they set it down. Along the front, they did a pretty good job. This is all sealed up pretty good. A couple of things we'll address is this here. This is just a fold-up mat and a little lightweight plate with a hole. So you can see lots of dust, lots of stuff comes in there. And you're basically sitting on top of the engine. So because we're sitting right on top of the engine, you can see they did a little bit of sound deadening mat here. They did some thermal insulation on the bottom, but there is, you can see all that. If you look back here, there's a gap under the seat that I can stick my finger through, and your radiator's right on the other side, and it's actually just pulling heat and pulling air under that seat. So what we've got to do is we've got to work on sealing this off. I've got some stuff for that I'm going to talk to y'all about. We've also can see a little bit through the pedals down here. They did on the newer ones, looks like they put a little mesh under here, which works good. I actually ordered some of those brushes that we can mount to the bottom side of that to try to close some of those gaps up. So a couple things we're going to do. One of the first things that I'm going to talk about today is, if you look behind here, I pulled this mat back, it velcros right here. They had rubber moldings made, I guess, to set this down and put it on top of the mower. Now this is a hollow rubber molding. It looks like it's about 3 inches thick. It goes all the way across the back. It comes down on the sides right here, okay? So that is basically just a piece of plastic. The cab, it has a piece of steel here, but this rubber molding, this is what you're seeing right here. Of course, your engine's right here, your noise is right here. So one of the easiest things I think that you can start doing is this is a hollow rubber molding. From what it looks like, it's sealed. It probably does have a couple little threaded holes that go through it for bolts. So the best thing we're going to do with that today is we're going to drill some holes in each side of it, and we're going to foam it. We're going to fill it with foam. You fill it with foam, that's going to help with the sound, and it's also going to help with the temperature. So that's a main piece here. If you look here, there's also another piece, side molding, that runs along the bottom of the doors. We'll look at the one on the other side. So right along here, the same thing. This is a rubber molding, and you can see they've weather stripped it down to the tank right here when the cab's set down. So when you look on the outside, this is the same weather stripping you're seeing that they used to seal it. We have a couple places, that you could see that could get air right there, and then right there through the roll cage, that hole actually goes through behind the seat. So just a couple small little places that we can work on getting sealed up. Right here you can actually see this goes into the floor right there. There's no sealing in there. But beyond that, I think if you get this sealed up, and we've got some sound deadening stuff for the bottom under the seat, and we should be able to knock out a lot of the noise. So I'm going to get started on getting everything ready for that. Be right back. Okay, so as you can see, we've got this mat pulled down here. Yeah, we've got a little bit of that insulation that came off of it. It's not a big deal. I actually have some dark gray, so you're not even going to see that through it. We're going to peel some more of that off, and then after I get the foam sprayed in this, you can see this is a hollow, like I said, it's a hollow piece of plastic. So we're going to drill a couple holes through here at the top, and then I'm going to drill some injection holes right here at these two pieces that go down. I want to make sure we get foam down in those. and then we'll get this thing filled up with foam, and then we'll get some of this residue scraped off. And then this is a self-adhesive Neuco sound deadening mat, and we'll get those attached here, and then what we'll do is we'll spray adhesive on the front of that and then apply this wrap back to the front of that. So let me get the drill and get those holes drilled. Okay, so if you see here, I've installed weather strip behind here where this plastic piece is. Drilled holes, injected foam all into this piece. You can see all the little holes that were drilled. And then I scraped as much of this stuff off as I could. And now this is the Neuco sound deadening mat. And if you look, I ran it all the way to the edge here. And then on the top, I'll put some weather strip in right there on the back side, because there was a gap. And then anyway, I'm going to finish doing this, and I'm going to black full tape these seams, and we'll go from there. Okay, so now I've got the Neuco sound deadener all the way across the back, and if you look, we've sealed it all the way to the edge here. It's been sealed all the way on the top, so we have no air holes, and this sound deadening material should help. And that back is now filled with foam, so the next step is going to be to re-adhesive this back to this backing. So let me get that done. I'll get you another picture. Okay, so I got all this glued down. Got a little bit of wrinkles I need to work out with the hair dryer on both sides. But overall, it came out nice. It's velcroed here. We're sealed across the top and down the sides on both sides. The next point that we're going to work on is going to be the seat. So I'm going to go around the other side real quick. Okay, most of the noise is coming from down here, bottom of the seat. If you look right in here, see those gaps right there? Wide open to the engine, radiator heat coming in there. Everything down to that point is pretty sealed up. Right here where you can stick your finger under here, that's where most of the heat's coming in on this seat. Now I've got some foil tape right here. I'm going to peel that off. We're going to fix that and make it look better. When you lift the seat up, let me do that real quick. So you're basically sitting right on top of the engine, but there is no seal or no gasket in any of these areas here. It's just basically, you've got a good heat shield here, but it's not sealing on that heat shield. You've got big gaps. So we're going to seal this up a little bit. I've got some more mat we're going to put over this. It's going to help sound a little bit more. So I've got to clean that off. Another thing is your wires go through the bottom of the seat here. There's a nice little grommet, but it's going to blow dust right up under that seat. So we're going to seal this off too. Do a little better job of that while we're at it. So let me get all this cleaned up, and I'll show you what it looks like when we get closer to being done. Okay, so if you take a look, I've doubled up on, this is the Neuco, it's just like Deadening Mat, I guess, same kind of stuff. I'm going to tape these seams up here, but one of the things I did notice while I was working on the seat is these welded braces right here, they're not welded all the way, so there's air gaps in these braces. So I'm going to have to seal those braces off also. That's another way air's getting in from under here, is through those gaps. If you hold a light, you'll see a nice gap inside right there. So I've got some silicone, seal these wires up down here. This is, like I said, this is just an additional pad I put on here. This one actually has some sound deadening barrier. The other one that looks like John Deere put on, if you look right here, they basically used a heat shield, and then they put the sound deadening on the inside. So doubling up on that, and then I'm going to close these areas up here on the edges, and then I've got a expandable weather strip I'll show you all in the next segment, and we'll get that in there. So when you're working on the seat, one of the things you're going to notice is that piece of channel on that side is spot welded, so all the dust comes through that seam. So you're going to have to full tape that, seal that off however you want to do it. And then there's a gap down there at the bottom you can see I've sealed off. There's a gap down there at the top. Now remember, you're not going to see any of this because the seat's down. You don't necessarily see that, it's not in view. And then I've got some foam weather strip. It's an expandable weather strip that we're going to use to seal the bottom of the seat off. You can see I've kind of taped that up. I'm going to put silicone on top of that for the wires, and then I've sealed these channels off right here coming up so that dust can't blow up through there either. I've still got to change that piece out right there. If I peel that off real quick, you'll see the gaps I'm covering up. Now this piece on this side is a solid piece, so you don't have to worry about it. You will have to seal that up right there against the firewall, and then that little piece that kicks over right there. But I'll get some of this done and continue on with the video. Okay, so for today we got the back piece done. Like I said, I gotta get a hair dryer, smooth a little bit of this out. But overall, we got that coated, we got that foam filled and covered back up. Look here, we've got a really thick foam weather strip going all the way around the bottom of the seat here. We have that sealed off, that seam in there with the full tape right here, because those are just spot welds. We'll put a little insulation down there on the front firewall, sealed all that up, and these two rails right here are not sealed either, so we have sealed those off. And so tomorrow we'll work on the floor pan, this, and getting some insulation under that floor, and then that should be pretty good. Okay, so the next piece that we're working on today, if you notice, I've removed the plate under here. Now I need to clean this up a little bit. You do have your oil check there for your hydraulic and your axle, and your grease fittings for your drive line. So you do need to get access to that every once in a while, but at this point, for me, I don't mind putting a couple self-tapping screws in there. If I need to pull it out, I will, to keep the plate from rattling under your feet, and then also letting the air come in. We're going to seal it up. So this is the plate you see that's generally on the floorboard. I've sealed the little hole off that you stick your hand through, of course, let dirt in. And then I've also put, if you look right here, I've also rolled some sound deadening material and insulation on top of that too. So the next step is I'm going to clean the floor up, and then we're going to get I've got a real small weather strip seal we're going to put on that, and let me get started on that, and I'll show you the finished product when I get done. Okay, for the next piece, you're going to have to take the steering wheel off and pull the column down. You get a lot of dust, there's a lot of AC right here through the floor. It looks like they're 9-cab models versus their cab models. They don't really do anything to seal this up, so I'm going to go ahead and do the best I can and get this sealed off. Okay, so basically that's about it for what I'm going to do on the cab. If I see any other dust leaks coming in anywhere, we'll address them when they happen. I think we got probably 95% of them covered in this video. So if you buy the 1585, definitely recommend it. Super nice unit. I wouldn't recommend the rear discharge just for the reasons we're looking at. There's some reviews with the rear discharge. Of course, it blows all the stuff up under there and you get more dust and dirt. Plus, you know, I really wouldn't want the rear discharge blowing that stuff up on my engine and the stuff up under there anyway. So anyway, I recommend the side discharge. What we've done has quietened down the cab significantly. I can definitely tell a difference just with the foam and with the Deadening Mat stuff on the back wall. So anyway, thanks for watching the video. Please hit that like down the bottom right hand corner, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one.